Hey, hello, and welcome, y'all. If you're new here, I want to welcome you to, I don't know what you would call this, to the talk that I'm having. Uh, and if you're not new here, welcome back. Today, I have a couple subjects that I may touch on, but I'm definitely going to touch on one in particular. This one's really touching me. This one's in my heart. A lot of people have already talked about it. I just needed to get my thoughts together to be able to say what I want to say. I want to start by saying that I am sending my thoughts and well wishes to the Kirk family, and I also want to wish Charlie Kirk a safe and uneventful passage into the afterlife. Now, some of you may be already getting turned off here because of the way I'm talking, the words that I'm saying, the phrases that I'm using. However, I'm doing my best to avoid being flagged by any platforms, and there are, certain words and phrases, things like that. Even subjects. There's certain subjects that will get you flagged, deleted. Your video will be removed. You'll get warnings. I'm trying to avoid that. So if what I'm saying sounds weird, it is most likely that. But it could also be that because I'm weird. I don't know. But whatever it is, I want to touch on this subject and do the best I can to get my thoughts and opinions across. So if you don't know who I'm talking about or what I'm talking about, Charlie Kirk was uh, he's being described in so many different ways, and I some of those descriptions do actually fit him. They fit well, um, but I don't want to describe him in two or three words. Um, to go long form to explain not who he was, because that would take weeks, but to help you understand why he matters and uh, why he would be in the news and that kind of thing, why he's popular. There you go. Why he's a popular figure. Sidebar. You may notice I have a, actually not a, it's some new equipment that I'm trying out. Hopefully it works and it works well. I guess we will be finding out. I did test to try to make sure that everything was set right and sounded right, but doesn't mean that I got it right. So bear with me while I'm in this growth portion of my YouTube thing. Okay, so Charlie Kirk he's a man that would go around mostly to colleges. He would go to other places sometimes, but mostly he would go to colleges. He would go into open forums. For instance, he might go to a quadrangle or a football field or something of that sort. Open, people could just walk up, and he would allow people to walk up and just say what was on their mind, what they thought, and he would either agree with them or he would bring up points, debate them, I guess. Uh, but he always had facts. Anytime that he would disagree with someone, he always had facts to back up everything that he was saying. He would have facts that counteracted what the other person was saying. Um, and he also always would handle these debates professionally, non-violently, and without challenge. I'm using that word because of what happened. Uh, if you don't know, if you haven't heard, because he believed so much in free speech, because he was a public figure, because he had things or knew things that others didn't understand. Whatever the reason, someone decided that his life was worth more than free speech or family or fame or whatever. Um, so they unalived him while he was at a Utah university. This was a couple of days ago. In those couple of days, I have been in my head doing my best to get my thoughts right so that I could say what I wanted to say without tempering those words, but also making sure that I didn't use what I was talking about before, the words, the phrases, and anything like a threat or anything that would get my words removed. Um, to go into a little more detail, if you don't want to hear details, um, you can skip the next several minutes. And I'm going off of what I saw, not what I've heard. Not yet. I'll get into what I've heard. But for right now, this is the fact. This is exactly what I saw from videos from three different angles. Charlie Kirk's sitting. He's got his microphone. He's doing his regular thing. You know, people coming up to a microphone. They're either asking him questions or saying what's on their mind. Free speech. He is utilizing his free speech to agree with them, disagree with them, but letting it go, or debating them on that subject. While doing this, you hear a loud pop, and Charlie's head shifts violently to the left, and he falls back. In video from a news source, and by the way, I don't trust news sources. I don't care who they are. I don't care who owns them. I don't care. I don't care if they're conservative. I don't care if they are libertarian. I don't care if they are socialist. I don't care. I don't trust any media, but this is video, so I trust it. Yes, you can say, well, they have AI now. They have CGI. They got people that are professional. Yeah, you can say all that. Um, but I've seen the exact same video on several media outlets, so I trust that it hasn't been tampered with. So that's what I'm going by on this part here. What I saw was, it looked to me like an object hit Charlie around his collarbone and went diagonal up and over, hitting him in the neck. Um, this is where I have a problem because all media news outlet that I have heard are saying it was a high powered rifle. I've been around weapons. See, I said a word there that may be a problem. I've said two, the R word and the W that I just said. I've been around these things my entire adult life. I mean, I only retired from the U.S. military September 7th of 2023. So I know these things. Also, in my personal life, I am an avid user. I like putting holes in paper. Knowing the things that I know, a high powered one would go through skin and bone. So whether you're talking 5.5, no, I'm sorry, 5.56 is military. 2.23, whether you're talking 2.23, 308, Creedmoor, anything like that. If he's just sitting there in a t-shirt, I don't care even if it hits the collarbone. It's going through. They have enough speed and enough weight to go through. They're not going to ricochet. So that tells me this is a lower powered small caliber. So we're talking 22, we're talking 25, not a 17. That's way too small, way too weak. Maybe even a 380, maybe. um, those could ricochet off of a collarbone. However, there is rumor that he always wears a ballistics vest. That kind of changes things also. Those high power tools that I was just talking about, um, they get captured in those vests. The Kevlar in them actually folds around them and it kind of melts to them to hold it. You would have to have super, super, super large tools to be able to go through those vests. There are some extremely high powered rifles that do that can go through certain levels of vest, classifications of vest. Trying to explain it to some of you that may not know. Uh, there are levels to vest. Certain levels stop certain projectiles. Um, Also, the sound. The sound sounded like a 22 to me. Several people have said, like YouTubers, conspiracy theorists, several of them have said that it sounded like a 22 to them. These are people that know at least as much as I do, probably more. They're saying sounded like a 22 to me. Why do they keep saying high powered rifle? Unless if it had a suppressor, also known as a silencer by some people. Um, that kind of changes things too. Um, may slow down a projectile, but not enough to make that much difference that it would go through, or excuse me, that it would be able to ricochet the way it did, or in the vest, it would still react the same. So, my belief is it was a 22. Sounded like a 22, it acted like a 22. To let you know how a 22 works, it is not very high powered and it's very, very small and light. Um, if you're far out, not even far, let's say you're 15 feet out. A lot of times, a jacket will stop a 22 from going into the body. However, it is the most the highest used round for offing people, that um, others feel need to be exa. I don't know if that helps. Exa. That's the word I'm trying to explain. Cushion. There you go. Cushion. There you go. Just split it. Maybe it'll make more sense because I'm having trouble with it. At the say the base of the head or the temple is where they place this round point blank, and it doesn't have the power to exit from the head. It'll bounce around. So you end up with, I have no idea. I don't even know if anybody's ever really counted. They just say that there's multiple tracks. So let's say 5 tracks inside. This is where I'm getting into the part that some people would call conspiracy theory, and I guess that would be the right description. However, these are things that I'm seeing not on Main Street media, but I am seeing with my own eyes that other people are showing. Now, the AI and CGI and all that good stuff does come into play here. That's why I don't know. I don't know if I should believe any of this, but I've seen it. So I'm going to talk about it. There is one place in his video. There's a time when Charlie is speaking, and I'm doing my hand like this for a reason. This is what he is doing, and as you can see, the ring is on his ring finger, and then out of nowhere, for no apparent reason, see the difference? It's on his pinky. Now the camera does cut away. So actually, I guess it would be more like, here it is, he's talking, he's telling somebody something, the camera cuts away. I'm going to turn instead of the camera. The camera cuts away, and when it comes back, the ring is on his pinky. Is that a big deal? Absolutely not. But it is strange because he's still in the same conversation. Why, in the middle of the conversation, does he move his ring? So maybe something was manipulated. So I'm saying that to agree with anyone that says, "Oh, well, they can make anything up. They can make it look like anything." I'm saying this to say that's why I'm not sure. Hope that makes sense. There's also a video um, from a person in the crowd, fairly close to, as close as they were letting people get to Mr. Kirk. He's like, what? They're all standing, but I'm going to say it's like the second row of people. Um, that kind of makes sense to explain it that way. Well, as soon as the sound goes and Mr. Kirk's head, well, I just went right, his head went left. As soon as his head went like this, the guy in front of the person recording does this, like he got hit with something. When the people I was watching slowed it down, you can actually see something. Can't tell what it is. Some people were saying, "Oh, that's just blood. That's blood." But it wasn't red. It was a grayish, dark, dark gray. I'm going to say, almost, almost maybe black, something, and it was very small, and it like brushed. It looked like it brushed the side of this guy's head. There was no reports of anybody else being injured in this situation. So I'm assuming he wasn't hurt by it. It was just something that hit him, and he reacted. The reason I bring that up and the reason it was important is not because of what the people that were showing this, the YouTube channel that I was watching, their whole point was that they were using that angle to show something different. I noticed that guy. So I started going back and forth, slowing it down, going back. And it just so happened that what they were talking about, as I said, that I'm going to get into in just a few minutes, what they were talking about happened at the exact moment that this gentleman reacted to something evidently hitting him. Either hit him in the head or he had a hat on. It might have hit his hat. But whatever it was, it made him react because he went off to the side and like touched his head and then went off screen. You couldn't see him. But because they weren't saying anybody else was injured, I'm assuming this guy wasn't hurt. It was just something bumped his head. Um, from that angle, there was no one, absolutely no one. In fact, on the other side of Mr. Kirk, there were people standing. That was who these guys were, the other YouTube channel. That's who they were looking at. Then from there was a fence and looked like stacks of speakers or some kind of boxes. There's no way that someone could have